AG's Truth presents Greenleaf series premiere, Season 1, Episode 1 review. What is up, YouTube? It is your girl Amber Gardner, and I'm coming to you right now about this new show on Greenleaf. Now, I'm gonna tell you, first off, when I first saw the trailer for this show, I thought it was going to be a bootleg Saints and Sinners. I'm gonna be honest, because it looked just like Saints and Sinners. You got the church, you got some corruption, there's some secrets, so on and so forth. I hate to say this because I rock hard, and I do mean I rock hard for Saints and Sinners. I hate to say this, but Greenleaf might have the upper hand on Saints and Sinners. I hate to say that. I rock with both, and I will still support both. But Greenleaf gonna have the upper hand, I think, on Saints and Sinners. Yeah, it's gonna be kind of like with that Empire scandal thing, where everybody started going to Empire and kind of leaving scandal by the wayside. I think that might happen with Greenleaf and Saints and Sinners. I'm just saying. But to move on. So with Greenleaf, it starts off with you have Gigi. She comes back into town with her daughter, Sophia, and they're coming back in the town car, and the person driving is talking about, telling Gigi, oh, my mother used to come and bring me to hear you preach and talk about how come you can't get a woman like that instead of the hoes you deal with. And it's discovered and shown to us that she used to preach and she doesn't anymore. Now she's a journalist, I believe. Whoop to my journalists. As a journalist, I'm measuring myself. And it's interesting how it makes you wonder. So if you used to preach, what make you kind of, go deuces? But we did that with that later. I'll come back to that later. She comes up on the property, gorgeous property, huge, humongous. You can tell they got some dollars. And mine actually used to have been this plantation, I think, just because during the credits they had some slave related stuff in the credits at the beginning when it first started showing, who was acting in it and stuff. But we'll get to that later. And they come up and meet Noah, who's somebody that works there at the property, and you can tell with Gigi and Noah there used to be some history. Some stuff went down on a romantic level. Even the daughter noticed it, and later on came and asked Mama, well, I can tell something happened. What happened with y'all? What's good? Like, how come y'all ain't worked? So the daughter's picking up on it too. So something, and I think that something else might go down later on. I think some rekindling might happen, but we'll get to that later. She comes and it actually is shown that she's back for a funeral. Her sister Faith committed suicide. And they're having her funeral. Mind you, I'm a Christian and I am a believer, and as a believer I do know that suicide's a big So when I heard that, I was kind of like, oh, so y'all gonna go there with it. Dang, alright, we already coming off of some stuff. Alright, cool beans. So Gigi gets to the front. Her father says the prodigal daughter has returned. I can tell they're going to tap into that. So I'm like, okay, cool. The mother, who's played by Lynn Whitfield, she comes to say hey to her. And the mother says, basically, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said. She said, do not come and bring, I think, cords of discord into my peace. And I'm like, so the mama coming to you saying don't bring no drama? And Gigi's like, I'm just coming to a couple of days to pay my respects. And mama's like, good. I'm like, so I'm guessing you and your daughter don't mix, since you coming to her saying don't come up in here starting stuff. All right, cool. So there's gonna be some stuff about that later on. I can pick up on that already. If mama and daughter, it ain't oil. It's like vinegar and oil, not mixing. It's not mixing. So to go forward a little bit, they had the funeral. At the funeral, nobody mentions the suicide, and Gigi even talks about this when she's on the phone with someone. No one mentions the suicide. They kind of skim over it because, the family is ministers. They have a big mega church, and it's their way of, keeping their face, keeping their character. They trying to keep it covered. So, obviously, this is a family where stuff gets swept under the rug, it seems like. Just saying. After that, they go to the dinner table scene. They're having dinner, and there's 3 siblings. Well, there was 4. One just passed away. There's 3 siblings that are still alive. You have Gigi, you have Jacob, and then you have Charity. Jacob, he does some preaching. He got some secrets. We'll get to that in a second. And Charity's another sister. And I could tell with Charity and Gigi, it's a thing where it's the whole prodigal son thing, where when one son, or the son that left, came back and was celebrated, the other son was kind of like, yo, what about me? I've been here the whole time. When I get my turn, my celebration, what's up? So I could tell there's some sibling rivalry, some jealousy and things going on there from what happened at the dinner table. At the dinner table, they're having dinner, and Carissa, who's the wife of the brother Jacob, she starts asking Gigi about, so what church do you all go to? They live in Arizona now. The church is in Memphis. They moved to Arizona. She left. What church I go to out in Arizona? She's like, oh, I go to this church, so on and so forth. And Carissa's like, well, I know they have to, treat you well, but they know who you are and everything. And Gigi's like, they probably don't really know who I am because I only really come Easter, Christmas. This is where stuff got interesting. Yeah, stuff got real interesting. So Carissa, who's Jacob's wife, the wife, not sibling, the wife, she comes to her and says, so are you one of those people that are more spiritual than you are religious? I was like, dang. Because first of all, like I said, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian. I've been Christian my whole life. I serve my God. No one can change my mind about that. However, I do know that Oprah, she keeps things neutral. So when they tapped on this, the very first episode, only about halfway in, I was like, so y'all gonna get into doctrinal type stuff already? Really? I was shocked. I'm like, okay, Oprah, you bolder than I thought you were, because I ain't think Oprah was gonna tap into no doctrinal type stuff, dealing with, spiritual and Christianity and Jesus and God and God. I didn't think that stuff was gonna come up like that. I thought they was gonna kind of do like saints and sinners and stay away from that. But Oprah dived right up in that jump. And I was just like, whoa, dang. So we gonna tap on that. So there's gonna get some conversations going, definitely on social media. But Carissa asked her about that, and Gigi is like, well, no, I still consider myself Christian. And then Carissa's like, well, how is that the case when you really don't go? And Daddy's like, wait a minute, hold up, let's not go there. And Mama's like, no, let's go there. I want to know this too. So, what do you consider Christianity? Do you still believe in Jesus? I'm like, ooh. I was shocked that they went there. I was in there like, Oprah, you tapped that? Like, you was bold enough to dive into that right there? I did not see it coming. And she gave a good answer, about she believes Christianity is, God trying mixed with our trying, something like that. Something well versed. It sounded nice. And the family kind of was. So it got real bold with that. Also, after that conversation got shut down, the younger sister, Charity, she brought up how she wanted to preach and she wanted to teach this sermon on the 12 seasons of marriage. Mind you, only been married 3 years, so the family's kind of like, how you gonna teach on something when we can't even guarantee you gonna stay married? And she kept pushing it. Daddy, you can tell they really don't believe in her preaching. For the fact of, he said, oh baby, you preaching in the children's ministry? They got her preaching in children's church, y'all. Children's church. So Grace, Gigi, her real name is Grace. Grace Greenleaf, they call her Gigi for short. She tried to come to her sister's defense, like, no, Dad, let her do it. The sister Charity comes at Gigi like, I don't need you to defend me. Stay in your place. I'm like, So we got some sibling rivalry and stuff popping off. Yes, we do. And it ends with Grace making a comment about her uncle, and then everybody basically kind of disperses. So stuff gets real hot at this dinner table. After that, we see a little bit of a dynamic between Charity and her husband. And there's some cute stuff going on. They seem cool, but I'm gonna tell you, I think the husband got some tendencies. When I say that, what I mean is this. When I first saw the trailer for the show, they showed a scene where her husband, Charity's husband, was texting someone. She said, who are you texting? And then the very next scene, they showed him and this white guy locking eyes and then looking away. I think her husband, his door swing both ways. I think that door swing both ways. We gonna see. But I think he might like to mix up his salad, if you feel what I'm saying. I think he's got some tendencies going on. They showed that. Then they showed Noah, the one that Gigi used to deal with. Him and his girlfriend chilling, and their practice is celibacy. They're abstaining from sex. And she says, I want to stay over tonight. He's like, you want to stay over? Swerve. And he's like, but we ain't doing nothing. And she's like, oh, we still ain't gonna do nothing. I'm just gonna stay over. This chick decide that she wants to pleasure him Southside. So y'all being celibate and y'all abstaining from sex, but you still offering pleasantries. Who is called oral sex. If sex is at the end of the word, that is not abstaining. Y'all are still having sex. It's just a variation from the traditional sex act that people think about. So, chick, don't even try it. Now, I think she did that mess because she saw Gigi was back and she like, chick, you ain't coming to take my man. So I'm gonna make sure my man is locked in. So we gonna make sure he good in that area. So we gonna get to her later because she might lose her man to Gigi. I'm sorry. I think Noah and Gigi finna rekindle and pop back off. But that's a different conversation. What else? Oh yes. Jacob, the brother. Him and the wife Carissa. Carissa's the wife that was asking all them questions at the dinner table. He is talking to her about how she was out of line. And she says, I just want Dad to know that she ain't no longer a preacher. Then she turns to him and says, tell your side piece to stop texting you so much. I will not be disrespected. This dude is banging, I think it's the white church secretary. Banging her. Ended up actually banging her during his daddy's sermon in the church in one of the closets. You're gonna bang her during your daddy's sermon in church. That's so disrespectful. Just so disrespectful. I'm just like, during the sermon, my dude, for real, just, you need a whooping. Yeah, so the son is off doing his thing, need to get him a whooping. And also, right before the father started to preach, somebody from the government came in telling the father how there was going to be some investigations regarding some of the mega churches because they thought they were using their tax exempt status to get them dollars and wasn't really handling business right. And the father seemed a little, I don't know what to make of the father. I think he might have there might be some dirt because I saw in the preview for tomorrow's episode, tomorrow night, episode 2, or the 3-part premiere, they were talking about how they wanted them papers, and he said, well, they're not finna get that. So I'm not sure what to make of the daddy. We'll see. What else? Oh, yeah, yes. Gigi ended up coming to the altar after the father's sermon when he was talking about coming home, because I guess she really felt it up in here. And her and the father ended up embracing and crying, and right after that, someone who had just won the Powerball, they announced that they were making a $50,000 donation from their lottery win to the church. And Gigi looked like this. I was just like, sip that tea. I'm like, okay, this is going to definitely get interesting. So, what else? I'm forgetting something. Oh, yes, one more thing. There's a younger daughter. She's the youngest. She is supposed to be the sibling of Gigi, Jacob, and Charity. However, she's very, very young. Teenager, actually. I don't think she's actually their sibling. I think maybe one of them had a child, and the parents are raising her as their daughter to keep stuff in hush-hush, but we'll see about that later. She went off with Sophia, which is Gigi's daughter, and she's telling Sophia about how, oh yeah, I got this Ritalin. You want to try it? Got drugs. The daughter like, how you get that? And she's like, oh yeah, I told them I had ADHD, that I felt some type of way, so on and so forth. This girl chops that junk up, snorts it, and then says, you want to try some? I said, yo, this is just a mess. And as a believer, my thing is, I will say this, I am happy about one thing, and I'll say this. One thing I'm happy about is the fact of, I thought they were going to come directly to Christianity, and that's not really what they did. Moreover, they just exposed the fact that anything can get corrupted when the wrong folk get their hands on it. Even the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil, but it doesn't say money, it says the love of. So when people get their hands on stuff can get messy. And that's what's going on with this family. The uncle, there's some things that the uncle like to touch little girls. Apparently, a young woman came and reported him a couple months back, and apparently there's also rumors that he touched on Faith, who's the one who committed suicide. So stuff's gonna really come out the closet. Stuff's gonna be brawling out the closet, and I'm waiting to see this one, especially since Craig Wright, who wrote it, I read somewhere that he used to be a pastor. So I'm gonna go and check that out. But all in all, it was a great, great, great episode. They really caught everyone's attention. This will get some conversations going. And Oprah, you got a jewel in your hands with this one. This made Empire not even seem. I like this more than Empire, to be perfectly honest with you. But I'm gonna holler at y'all later. I will be bringing another review for the other 2 episodes of this 3-part premiere that are coming on tonight. And I will see y'all later. Remember, stay true to yourself. Stay honest, stay free, and remember, 2016 could break a new you, but only if you allow it. This is Sam McGarney here at AG's Truth. Peace, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you again here at AG's Truth, where honesty's always in style.